see if I got a pin first. Mr. Buns is scared as hell.
Here you are. Yeah.
Mr. Buns is getting scared of the fireworks outside.
Oh yeah, Onyx is getting scared too.
Yeah, someone's popping a whole lot of fireworks. See?
Here.
It sounds like they're popping the really big ones.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
They're scaring poor Mr. Bot.
Onyx. This here was only $6 for all this breakfast. That's
It's not
crazy.
bad.
3 pancakes, a bunch of sausages, all this shit. I would have got two of these if you had told me. Cause I paid $13 for a double cheeseburger.
That's cool.
Honey.
See, as soon as they come inside, they start popping that shit off. So,
Come on, Nick. Come on. Come on, Nick.
yeah.
She's barking at me, Karen. If she's barking at me, I'm gonna have to spank her. Onyx. Oh, you dodo bird, look up here. Hey. Right in her mouth.
Let's go. What does that know you? What does that know you? Time travel from the year 2345. Says, I'm sorry for what awaits you.
High five. Onyx. High five. High five. High five. Sit. 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 Sit.
I had a bacon cheeseburger. Me too. I had a bacon cheeseburger too.
High five. High five. High five. Sit. 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 Onyx. Sit. You're not gonna sit. I'm not gonna give it to you. High five. High five. Sit. 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 Onyx.
Si tu
Sit.
negocio necesita capital para
Sit.
crecer, vender más, contratar personal, hacer publicidad, Saint Padre Pio is said to have made many prophecies
Right.
during his lifetime. Some of these
This guy says, this prophetic guy said that next year, 2024, there's going to be 3 days of darkness.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think it's gonna happen. Dick, that's more rare.
Yeah, this one, this guy, they said he's made a lot of accurate prophecies.
It's a lot more rare than I do
It's gonna
occur
be-
out here.
yeah.
High five. High five. Sit. 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 Very good. Very good.
You only have weeks before it be becomes. The United Americans, U.S. Americans only have weeks before it begins. This is crazy.
These have been documented while others have been passed down orally. However, nothing could have prepared us for one of the scariest prophecies that he made throughout his lifetime, and this was the prophecy of the 3 days of darkness. What could this prophecy actually be? Why is the prophecy of the 3 days of darkness scary?
High five.
Join us as we
On
take
it.
you through the scariest
High five.
prophecy
High five.
of
No.
that has shocked the world.
High
Before we
five.
delve into
High
the
five.
topic of the video,
Sit.
let's see who
Sit.
Padre Pio
High
was
five.
for a better understanding of
Sit.
what is to come. Padre Pio, born Francesco Forgione, was an Italian priest who lived from 1887 to 1968. He was a Capuchin friar and is considered a saint in the Catholic
Come on,
Church.
Onyx.
Born to Giuseppe Ignatius
High five.
Forgione in a
High
small
five.
town
High five.
known
High
as
five. High five.
Pietrelcina,
Sit.
Italy,
Sit.
on
Sit.
May 25th,
Sit.
1887.
Onyx.
A family of farmers,
High
he had
five.
shown interest in religious
High
life
five.
and entered
Come
the
on, Onyx.
Capuchin
High
at the
five.
age of 14.
Yeah.
He was
Sit.
ordained
Sit.
priest
Sit.
in
Sit.
1910.
I
Sit.
get both. I
Sit.
get
Sit.
very
Sit.
well. I just want to
Very good.
hear what the prophecy is.
Onyx. Onyx. Here, Onyx.
Oh my God.
Onyx.
What is the prophecy? What's up, flipping out Hawaii? How you doing?
We don't believe in a creator who did his part and then left us to our own devices while he lounges on a beach in some distant corner of the cosmos.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live stream. Before we get into this video, make sure you have a notebook, something to take notes, some time to really ingest this, because I believe this is going to be hands down without facts. If you enjoy, make sure to give it a thumbs up and send it to a friend. We need it. So this
Hands
is
down,
all
without a
about
fact, doesn't make
great
sense.
awakening that is happening on
Without a
Earth and the great
fact.
reset. This is what Chris Cannon spoke about. This is what Bashar speaks about. This is what like the greatest spiritual leaders in the world literally have been speaking about for years. This is because this is, in my opinion, the most exciting time to be on Earth. Because it is a mass global awakening where people are starting to remember the truth of who they are. And so this means there is going to be great change, great reset. It is going to be a very potent, powerful time. And this is a video I was told in a ceremony. I was sitting in a ceremony 7 months ago, and I got the vision that I had to make this video. And I still wasn't ready to share it, but I am now. So the people that understand this video, they're meant to hear this, they're meant to understand this, and they're meant to, use this information for their purpose, their good, what they're meant to do on Earth. So, and if it doesn't resonate, maybe it's just not your time. So what I want to discuss is the old Earth versus the new Earth and what this is going to look like. Okay, so before I get into the old Earth and the new Earth, I want to explain that it is going to be a timeline split. What does this mean? A timeline split is the understanding that this world isn't going to be all one piece. It's not like everyone in the world is just going to listen to Bob Marley and they're going to be smoking their weed and it's just going to be peaceful and la la rainbows and unicorns. That's not the case. It's not going to be what we think it looks like, okay? It is a split. So in this world, we thrive on polarity. right? Yin and yang, black and white, sun and moon, salt and pepper, man, woman, like everything has a polarity, everything has a mirror effect of it. So what it is going to do is, as much as the old Earth, which is the world we're living in, that's very systemized, it's very controlled, it does not have the love for humanity. It's making us sicker. It's making humans more in a rat race, stuck in the matrix. Like all these things that humans are now awakening to and wanting to escape, that is going to get louder. But the polarized effect is that the new Earth is going to get louder. Okay. And every time I meditate, I just want to share this because this keeps coming through for me. 2027 is going to be the biggest year for this change. I see almost that the world is going to go on strike, like on a very global scale.
You mean 2024?
But 2027 is the year where I believe this is really going to amplify. But the people who are awakened and at the forefront, people like you watching, this is your role and your duty as you move forward now, because you have this awareness and you are going to be bridging this into the new earth. This is why I've now released my power activations for new earth leaders who want to activate their power and their purpose, and also psychic energy sessions for people who want to get clarity on their purpose, what they're here to do. So if you want to check that out, I'll link it down below if you want to book a session with me. But basically, that is what we're preparing for. It's 2027. So if you don't know what timelines are, I'm just going to quickly explain. Timelines are infinite realities that we live in. So to give some perspective, there's over 8 million people on Earth right now. That's what they're saying anyway. So there's 8 million different realities playing out right now because everyone has the perception of their life from their eyes, their own paradigm.
There's a lot more than 8 million people. I'm done with this. I was in 5 more minutes, dude. There's way more. There's like 8. Did she just say 8 million people on Earth?
8 billion.
Oh, she said billion or million?
I don't
If you
know.
said million, I'm turning this shit off.
But basically, that is what we're preparing for. It's 2027. So
no, 2024. Listen to this shit.
To quickly explain, timelines are infinite realities that we live in. So to give some perspective, there's over 8 million people on Earth right now. That's what they're saying anyway.
Over 8. She said million. This just yo. No, I'm done with this shit, man.
What? When she was freestyling or what?
She keeps saying, I heard million again, bro. I heard million, not billion, bro.
But basically, that is what we're preparing for. It's 2027. So if you don't know what timelines are, I'm just going to quickly explain. Timelines are infinite realities that we live in. So to give some perspective, there's over 8 million people on Earth right now. That's what
she said million again, bro. Yo.
She really said that? 8 million people?
Yeah, I have captions on. I turned on the captions, bro.
It sounded like million, yeah.
I have captions. I'm done with this shit.
Hello. What a great word. Gesture. Invitation. A word that introduces and acknowledges.
Julia, you have been.
I think there's more than 8 million in just New York. Bro.
Yeah.
Through quite a bit over the past month, and I appreciate you today. I wanted to story on November 15th last month. Your husband was shot, and this is a story that has been in headlines across the country, across the world. Can you take us through what happened that day?
So my husband was street preaching. I mean, he's been doing that for over a year. And usually he street preaches for 30 minutes before every evening service for our church. And I remember that day, like, he just ended street preaching early, and I thought that was odd. I was like, maybe he's just not feeling it tonight or something. And then, yeah, like, I didn't even know what had happened. I just saw him, like, I heard him loading up the sound system back in the car. He gets in the car, drives the car to the church. And at this point, I had seen that, you know, he was bleeding. And I'm like, are you okay? I thought someone maybe just threw a bottle at him. I had no idea what really had happened. He drives our vehicle to the church, unloads the sound system. He's about to get our daughter down. And I'm like, no, like, you can't. Like, you're all bloody. We need to go home and get you cleaned up. And luckily my brother showed up at that point. He's like, no, we need to get you to the hospital. So my brother ends up driving him to the hospital. And on the way to the hospital is when he kind of started throwing up and stuff. And as soon as we got there to the emergency room, he started seizing. And like even the doctors and the medical staff didn't even know that that this was a gunshot wound. They thought that
none of you knew.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's so crazy that you were with him. He's driving. I mean, you had no idea. You assumed it was an assault. That was the initial.
Yeah.
But at that point, when she got to the hospital, then they realized that something more was going on.
Yeah, they didn't even until they did a CT scan afterwards. Then they realized, oh, there's a bullet in him and stuff. So, yeah, then that was pretty much it. That was the whole situation, and it's just kind of a waiting game. And they died.
What was your reaction to hearing that, Zulia? What was to hearing that there was a bullet? Because that's a very different situation than what you thought had happened.
Yeah. Oh, my heart sank. Like, yeah. It, from, okay, yeah, maybe he needs some stitches too. Oh gosh, like this is way worse than I had even, assumed it was. And yeah, it was, yeah, I just felt sick to my stomach.
Noise.
I realized it was a gunshot wound. And I remember, like, even when we got to the urgent care, like he was like non-responsive. So it was hard.
And you have 2 young children, and here you are in a situation. What were the doctors telling you as far as once they realized what was happening and they're treating him? What were they saying in terms of his chances and what was going to potentially happen in those days?
Everyone that talks to you just said it's devastating. It's devastating. That's the one word I remember from the night. Every doctor, every nurse just said it's devastating. It's devastating. Like I felt so sick. It's like that's the last thing you want to hear, Like you start questioning, like how, like what's the last thing I told them, or like, yeah, or why wasn't I paying attention? You start questioning everything, and yeah, and I mean, even I remember, like, even the neurosurgeons, they said they're like, we're waiting for neurosurgeons to come talk to you and stuff, and they're like, yeah, it's devastating. No one wanted to touch it. They're like, yeah, no one's gonna touch it. No neurosurgeons. Yeah, it's just not operable. And then even just hearing the detective say, like, we'll know more after the autopsy. It's like, what? Like, it felt like it was
you
just.
You heard that the detectives. Oh my gosh! Wow. How did you? Because you've posted on social media. You had a message on Thanksgiving that was really inspirational and very powerful. How did you keep the faith? How have you kept the faith in these weeks with having 2 young children going through all of this chaos?
No,
how have you been
I told
able to do
you.
that, to keep your faith?
Honestly, I'm like shocked.
My wife.
I honestly think it's people's prayers. Like that's the only way I can explain it. Because there's been moments where I'm like, how am I this okay? Like you even feel guilty for not crying. It's like, because I've seen it, and it's like, it's so, like in the beginning, like just seeing him like connected to everything, where it's almost like he doesn't even look like himself. It's like, yeah, you start questioning, like, yeah, you start questioning everything. But it's like, I know it's people's prayers, and I know God has a plan in all of this. But there's no other way to explain it. Like the ugliness that I would see and just the peace that I had. But I remember just like when he was in the ICU, like I'm saying, everything's gonna be all right. Like, how do you say that when everything does not look all right? I mean, but in the days of progress, there's still frustration. There's still difficult days. Yes, we're grateful, but it doesn't mean, the days aren't hard. Like just see your loved one in that situation. It's not easy, especially when, he was the main provider for our household, and he would go to work, and now it's like you see your person, it's like a whole reset. They have to relearn everything, and the brain is such a sensitive thing that we don't know still, like what's going to happen, what tomorrow's going to look like, what a year from now is going to look like. I mean, we're hopeful and we're praying and we're contending for like a supernatural recovery, but there's just so much unknown still, so much uncertainty. But it's like every day we've been able to witness a miracle from that first night where they're like, you're gonna start seeing blood just come out through like the holes, like his ears and stuff. So it's like he made it past day one, and now here we are, a little over a month, and it's like the progress he has made. It's just amazing, and he's a little bit. He understands a bit more like the situation, but we still don't know 100% how much he understands because he's unable to communicate at the moment. So but
he is awake. But he is awake, and he is making progress right now.
Yes.
That is incredible, and it's something you're giving us prayer points here because I was going to ask you how to pray, but I think what you're describing, you're telling us what we can be praying for, and anybody who listens.
Babe, do you have a Tums? Please. Thank you. Huh? I brought it. I don't know what you did with it. And it's in the pillow, no?
Staying warm in your vehicle, mental strategies, or even installing a wood stove in your home. But what if you have to bug out yourselves mentally for worst case scenarios?
It's cold in here, babe.
Solar generator. You guys upstairs?
Babe, it's cold in here. Babe, I want to get on top first, babe.
You're right. Because we like this. It makes us feel happy, sad inside. Yes, but it's not about what we show. It's about what we do. We're the heroes who'll serve you up a tasty gaming PC. Hello everyone, my name is Zeus Books. It's able to look at 10 scary videos. Again, make sure to subscribe to it. Because you panicking and moving around, seemingly getting scared of something that's outside. Moves a bit closer to the window and passes the camera to the panic moment. She comes outside, and it's right then and there that we finally see what's scaring the woman so badly.
Oh, it's a badass small little propane tank.
Way far off in the distance, a pair of glowing red eyes can be seen staring at the TikTok user, while she continuously screams in panic and fear before the video eventually ends abruptly, leaving us all to wonder what happened to this woman and her family afterward, and whether or not she called anyone for help. It's unclear as to what was staring back at this family with those terrifying red eyes, but it's definitely creepy, and I can only hope that she at least called the police to get them to come out there and investigate the area. That is, if the clip isn't a hoax.
Is the X-Bomb gas well. It's a propane canister that's made of a composite material. Now, obviously, I filled this up with propane.
This next three videos all from the TikTok username Skate.
You can see on there,
Seems
this
to
is
be
a 20 liter tank, and it's super light.
Each video documents some truly scary things. So let's dive right into the first clip.
I probably could.
At the start of the first video, he explains that a day before, he and his cousin pulled out a video board and started messing around with it.
Toasty warm up here, though, eh?
Yeah.
You have the setup. If we left it, they hit the road here. How did roads 3 days until we can get a wood stove set up and established wherever we work?
It's cold as fuck, Aaron. Babe, please.
Inside, you want to make sure they're form factor than some of the other curved units. When you tilt it out, you don't have to worry about that heat getting that floor too hot and potentially
Just put it
running
on
the risk of starting
pure
a fire.
fan.
Now, the only downside to these units is that you won't build a fan. I found that this is not really necessary because once you have these on for more than 10 minutes, that heat is going to diffuse itself throughout the room regardless. Where you might want a fan and why it's better to have a separate fan system is to blow the hot air down from your tent. You can typically use something like a lithium powered fan. So if you're in a tent or a tiny home and there's a vaulted ceiling, you want a fan on top to blow that hot air down, because what's going to happen is all that nice hot air is going to be trapped up there and you're going to be freezing your ass off.
What's up, nostalgic? Yeah, I'm doing better around here and there. Thank you.
Huh?
Appreciate it. Oh no, I was trying to comment.
Is not going to do a whole hell of a lot, especially after 10
Cause, as I'm
minutes of
sure you can
runtime.
imagine, that
This
turned out to
thing
be a
got that
gigantic
bumpy
mistake.
toasty
At
warm
first,
in just a
all
few
seems
minutes
to be
on
okay with
high.
Chris,
So
but
you
then
don't
things
need
start
it
to
on
pick up
high.
from there.
Remember,
Listen
5
to the
pounds of
bizarre noises
BTUs
that
is
soon
probably
followed
more
whenever
than
Chris
sufficient
sets up his cameras
for
for
a room, and that bunkie was 10 by
Thank
10.
you.
It got the place like toasty warm. That was 100 square feet. But the thing is that you got to factor in, if it's really cold outside, if it's minus 30, the efficiency of these things are going to drop. These two small units have piezoelectric. That means that there's an infinite ability to ignite the system with the piezoelectric igniter that's built into the unit. This unit requires batteries in order to be automatically lit. You hold this thing down and it's going to ignite. Okay. Now, even if all of those things fail, you have an ignition source, you have a lighter, a match, or something like that, you'll be able to ignite these, although the manufacturer would advise against that for obvious safety purposes. This unit can only accept the 1 pound propane canisters. This unit can accept 1 pound for the larger units. One of these will give you about 4 to 5 hours of heat.
You can hear that, can't you?
On the lower settings, will provide a similar amount of heating
Sound like tapping.
units. For the biggest unit, if you want to use it on high and you only have one of these, it's probably only going to last about an hour and a half. That's why I would strongly recommend, one of my favorite propane canisters is this guy right here, because this is going to give you
It's like, it's the hutch.
24 hours
It's
of
the hutch.
use on the go. Let's say you're worried about being stuck in a snowstorm, or you do a lot of commuting out to remote locations, you're in the very least going to want a 5 pound canister.
Something that's also quite interesting to note is that it's a rope that he had the
This might be fun. Get stuck
about
in a
8 seconds
snowstorm.
after Chris
Just
said that
gets
he
you
could
that
talk
few
to
hours
himself.
while you're waiting for the tow truck. This is what you're ideally going to want for a vehicle for mid-term durations. Now, if you want to go a little bit longer term, like if you're planning on, heading out to the bush for a few days, you might want to consider a 10-pound canister, and then of course we can go all the way up to the 13.6 pound. Now, this one is incredibly
And
unique.
obviously, a tripod falls so well by itself as well.
It's a special item, and
In the
it's
second video, Chris
incredibly
explains that he
ultralight
was motioning
for
around the kitchen because he couldn't get to
propane that you're
sleep.
getting.
So
It's
he
even lighter
decided
than
that he
the
would clean some
10
dishes so
pound
he could have
propane
something to do.
canister right
But as
here.
he's about to
And
find out,
this
he
one's
can't
actually
even
full,
seem
and
to
this
do
one's
that in
empty.
peace.
I guess if you were really concerned about weight, maybe you had to carry this in, maybe you're carrying it in on a sled, you might want to go with something like this. So, the big boy, this is the one that most people are probably going to get, because you can put your backup propane canister back there. Now, what I think they should do in future is just either have two ports as opposed to a placeholder for one, because nobody wants to have to switch it out every 4 hours. It's just a pain in the ass. Ideally, for this unit, you're not using these smaller ones anyways. You're going to be utilizing the quick attachment here. So for that, it's really simple. Just plug it in like that, and then this is going to attach to your larger propane canisters. If you wanted to, you don't need this quick adapter attachment. You could, Just use your standard 1 pound, 5 pound, or an up converter. One of the nice things about having access to the back ends of these units is that you can clean them.
He also explains that a little bit before this happened, he also heard the shower in the center running downstairs.
And overall, it's a very robust build, so I'm not concerned about things breaking in that respect. We'll light it so you can see exactly how it works.
Video that
We're
we'll
gonna
be
plug
looking
it
at today from skateboard artists
in.
who seemingly close very late at night. At the start of the footage,
Comes
you can
on.
see
Can definitely see you through if you use this on the
Chris talking to his dogs. He said he had the camera up because he was going to do a live stream, but ultimately decided not to
As you
as
can
it
see,
was
there's
too
just
tired.
this section. We're finding random things in every
Later in
section.
the footage, something very bizarre happens.
So when it comes to preparing for any
What time is it, man? What time is it? What time is it, babe?
is the Brennan monorail, a train in the early 1900s that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Not only did it keep itself perfectly balanced on a single rail, but it mysteriously leaned into corners without any driver input. This was a real invention, and it was unveiled to the public in
The rest of the footage shows Chris trying to figure out what to do, obviously quite scared and worried. To this day, it's unclear what exactly Chris is dealing with, but it definitely seems quite serious. Was this really a good result of him and his cousin playing around with that Ouija board? If so, Chris is probably going to regret that decision for the rest of his life.
Is it truly going to be a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year this year, folks, or is there something more brewing, of course, in the background?
They're brewing something for 2024. They're brewing something, babe. Did you upload the videos, Jared?
This next video
No.
is posted to the YouTube.
Upload them, Jared.
I gotta get off the live.
What?
I have to get off the live.
All right.
Separated by a user known as
All right.
I'll upload them.
You're gonna upload them?
If I do, I have to get off the live.
All right. Well, then upload them, and then we'll go back live later.
Alright.
All right, Jared.
Alright.